The Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 main antagonist might have just been revealed, this along with the Steam store page and a bunch of new photos. This isn't the style of video I usually make, but I wanted to get this out as soon as possible because I'm super excited for Chapter 4 information. So let's talk about it. The Chapter 4 Steam store page is now up, but I'm not sure if it's supposed to be. As you can see, it is the official Mob Entertainment, but it looks a little weird. All of the pictures are in different dimensions, so it just feels weird, I guess. But regardless, let's look at what the game is about. It reads, "Brace yourself for the darkest chapter yet in the epic Poppy Playtime saga. You are pushed deeper into the undiscovered depths of the Playtime Co. factory, far below anything the world knew. Here, you'll encounter terrifying new threats and discover shocking revelations. Can you outwit the unnatural new creatures lurking in the shadows? Can you survive here long enough to eventually unravel the mysteries behind the experiments? Every step will test your courage, every puzzle will change your mind, and every corner may be your last." So I want to dissect this a little bit. It mentions that we're pushed deeper into the undiscovered depths. So obviously we are going further down than we were before in chapter 3. This was made apparent by the ending of it, but it makes me think, how deep can this place even be? I mean, what else could be down here? It also mentions encountering new threats and discovering shocking revelations. Obviously we will meet new characters, but the revelations is also interesting. I'm hoping that means we will finally get answers about the prototype. But anyways, continuing on, the features reads, "New characters and allies. New extraordinary characters guide your way and haunt your nightmares. Expanded lore. Discover more about the dark secrets of Playtime Co. and its twisted past. Mind-bending puzzles. Solve intricate puzzles that could mean the difference between life and death. Heart-pounding atmosphere. With haunting visuals and immersive sound design, the terror never lets up. And last but not least, will you escape the horrors hidden within Playtime Co? Or will you succumb to the terrors? Survival isn't guaranteed, fear is." I love this last part. This further supports the idea that Chapter 4 could be the last chapter. It's theorized that us, the player, probably won't make it out alive. So all that being said, it's pretty obvious that this will be the darkest chapter, and I'm really excited for it. Okay, so let's take a look at these pictures, and like I said before, the proportions are kind of weird, so just bear with me. This first picture looks like we're in some kind of prison. We can see a bunch of doors, and there's even prison bars far off. This would make sense because in some of the Chapter 3 game files we saw signs for a prison, and it was pretty obvious that we were probably going here. We might even be able to escape these. The last thing I want to point out with the photo, and I guess the rest of the photos, is that it doesn't look polished. And that's why I think these photos could be a mistake or something like that. Either way, this prison location looks so cool. Now, this second photo looks to be like it's inside of some hub. At least that's what it looks like, considering the center desk. I think this door here on the side could be to the prison of the picture we just talked about. And there's also colors on the floor, so I wonder if those correspond to anything. You might also notice on the wall there are these red, blue, and yellow squares that are the same colors as the ones I just mentioned. I'm not sure if this symbol means anything, but it probably will once we play the game. Of course, I also have to point out the windows on the top here. As you can see, they are obviously fake, and it's just a reminder of the facade that Playtime Co. puts on. And the last thing I want to mention is the cameras, because obviously somebody has always been watching. But this is a really cool picture, and I'm glad that we are finally seeing more of the location. This third photo is super cool. We're in some kind of tunnel. There are barrels on the ground. Obviously the wall is destroyed. There is also the generator, so we might have to turn these on throughout our gameplay. It's pretty dark, so there isn't much to see here, but the atmosphere is so cool to see. We have these specks everywhere, and I think this is outside. Remember in Chapter 3 how there was this big sphere that we were in? So these could be the same rocks that we saw before, but just way farther down. So yeah, this is a nice photo. I think the biggest takeaway is the generator. We will probably have to turn this one and many more on throughout the game. Which brings us to the fourth photo. Again, there's not much here. I think this might be some kind of trash collection like we saw in chapter 3, but obviously I'm not too sure. Again, there's really not much to see here, it's just an empty room, but it is so cool to see. This is the fifth photo, and there are some interesting details here. The first being the obvious purple grab pack hand, meaning we will be using it again in chapter 4. Obviously we'd be jumping from ledge to ledge and then probably go around this big rock here. There is some green, so maybe this is some green gas, but it's probably just fog. I want to reiterate this one more time. These photos don't look polished. It's weird to me, and I can't tell if it's on purpose or not. Regardless, I'm glad we got them, obviously. I think the biggest takeaway for this photo is the purple grab pack hand. This more or less confirms that we will be using it in chapter 4. Now, let's finally talk about this new character. As of recording this, we do not have a name for them yet. However, it's pretty obvious as to what this toy is. Clearly, this is another smiling critter, which would make this one number 9. There was no mention of a 9th critter inside the orientation notebook, nor was there any mention within chapter 3. So this toy or experiment was a kept secret of Playtime Co., and it makes you wonder why. Perhaps this was a failed experiment, a failed smiling critter, something so bad that they decided to scrap it, or so they thought. But I'm sure we'll get into that once the ARG stuff starts coming out. So you might have noticed the skull-shaped pendant that it wears. This is a sharp contrast to all of the other smiling critters, how theirs are simple and friendly, while this one is a gray skull, and skulls are often a symbol of death. This detail, along with the wordplay in the chapter's description, paints the picture that we are probably not making it out alive after this one. But anyways, think about this. This character might not actually be the main antagonist of chapter 4. Rather, this could just be a side character, like Ollie was in chapter 3. This could even be Ollie, the lost and hidden smiling critter of Playtime Co. So is this the main antagonist or just another side character? Well, I'll let you decide. I'm glad that we are finally getting chapter 4 news and information. I mean, it hasn't even been a full year since chapter 3, so we should feel lucky. I'm not a huge fan of the idea that a smiling critter would be the next main villain, considering we just had Catnap, who was supposed to be the big and bad. So in my opinion, I do think that this is a supporting character. But either way, I'm confident that Mob Entertainment will be able to cook up something creative for us to enjoy. What do you guys think of all of this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like horror game content like this, please consider subscribing. I just made a Discord, so if you want to talk to me, go ahead and join the community. If you want to support the channel more, you can become a member. Don't forget to follow my Twitter at TerrifyT. Thanks for watching.